The Seattle Kraken are playoff bound in just their second NHL season. Erica Ayala of Locked On Kraken is here to discuss the excitement in Seattle and what to look forward to as the Kraken head to the playoffs.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And thank you for making Locked On NHL your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On Kraken, Erica Ayala. There you go. And Erica, got to be a lot of excitement out in Seattle right now. First playoff appearance in franchise history in just their second year. Talk to me about some of the buzz going on out there in Seattle.
Yeah, well, for those watching on YouTube, you can see I've got my rally towels. Those were given out today at Kraken Community Iceplex as the team hit the ice for their first ever postseason practice. So needless to say, there is a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. We struggled mightily in a lot of categories last season, and the year-over-year improvement has been amazing to witness in the regular season, and then to see that now transpire to a playoff berth. Needless to say, Seattle Kraken fans are excited.
What is the biggest difference in this team from year one to year two?
I think that we have grown a lot in discipline. Some of the things that were kind of Kraken hockey, as we would kind of say, a throwaway line, we're seeing that happen less and less. I think also offensively, you saw that there was a big focus in the offseason for bringing in some talent like an Andre Burakovsky, like an Oliver Bjorkstrand, matching them with Jared McCann, who has been fantastic. But then also, if you look at the blue line, we've seen Vince Dunn step up a lot offensively this season. And that's because, I think Dunn gets a lot of the credit, but I've been looking at even how Adam Larsson is playing on the back end. He's known as, between the two, certainly more of the stay-at-home defenseman. But now he also has been really great with his hands, moving the puck really well, and also has that veteran presence, which is important also. So we get the boon of not just Burakovsky and Bjorkstrand, as I mentioned, Burakovsky, a Stanley Cup champion, but Justin Schultz as well, and the veteran experience. Those are just a few of the things that were thrown into the pot that have made us successful.
What concerns you most about this matchup against the defending Stanley Cup champions?
I think you really have to look at playoffs in any sport, having experience, not just as individuals, but as a unit, does make a difference. Everything, if sports and hockey is a game of inches in the regular season, that is heightened in the postseason. Knowing how to anticipate where your teammates are going to be, how they react and respond in certain situations, that is all what you learn, not just through regular seasons, not just through years played together, but certainly in the postseason. And so we've never been there before. It's only our second season. Those are things that we have to learn on the fly. That being said, Dave Haxel has been talking a lot in the last handful of days. I'm here at Kraken Community Iceplex, saw the practice here. He's been talking about that this is a Kraken team that likes their chances against Western Conference teams. We're about 500. I talked to Everett Fitzhugh, who will be calling the games on the radio for the Seattle Kraken, says, that this Kraken team has played Colorado and knows that they can defeat this Colorado team. But again, I think for me, it's to see how we're going to come out of the gate. I think you want to be able to use the energy and, dare I even say, emotions and excitement that comes with making your first postseason as a franchise. You want to use that in a positive way. And my guess is that Colorado doesn't have to go through those paces as much as we'll have to.
Special teams are always vital in the postseason. I know Seattle sort of in the middle of the pack, both on the PK and the power play. How concerned are you about the special teams matchups in this series?
It has been a concern, if we're being honest, Gil, throughout the season. I actually was able to talk to Eli Tolvanen about special teams, particularly on the power play. I do think since him coming over from Nashville, that he has certainly been able to help us at certain points in the season. That being said, there have been times where the penalty kill, unfortunately, I mean, there's been a handful of times where our penalty kill has given up goals late into trying to kill off a penalty. And those are always kind of backbreakers, just even in that sequence, if not for the game overall. So those are some of the things that Seattle, I hope, is really going to focus on in the time that we have. We heard from Dave Haxtell. They're going to take as much time as possible, to prep in Seattle as opposed to traveling to Colorado early. Also, Dave Haxtell said that he likes that the Colorado matchup gives them the opportunity to do that, whereas if they were playing Dallas, they would be on a plane today, already in the air likely. So I hope that they'll have some time to really focus and refine those things, particularly on special teams.
One thing I like about Seattle when I look up and down this roster, they have a certain amount of scoring depth. It's not just one line that's contributing to the scoring. How does that help them heading into the playoffs?
I think it's huge, and it's what has gotten Seattle to where we are in this season. I know we talked before and throughout the season that our fourth liners on the offensive side of things, our fourth line forwards, have really been able to boon the offense at times and have been the leaders and the more consistent line at times. Now we've also seen that players like Morgan Geekie or even Ryan Donato at times are able to fill in and plug in holes that we have, or maybe give us different looks and matchups that are more advantageous. So that depth and the willingness, especially for those players that usually play on that third, fourth line, for them to be amenable to what is needed in the moment is not only what has gotten us to this point, but will, if I had to guess, be an important element going into the postseason.
Last question for you. You got to think in this series, the pressure is on the Avalanche, whereas the Kraken almost figure they're playing with house money. How does that help this team heading into this series?
I think it's huge. You want this team to be going in light and to focus on what they can control and focus on playing the best version of Seattle Kraken hockey that we've ever seen. And we've seen some pretty fantastic iterations of that already this season. I mean, I think about how we played Boston in Boston at TD Garden. I was there for that game. That was a fantastic game, just as one example. And so I think that while I don't want to say there's no pressure, I think it's a different type of pressure than what Colorado is likely facing.
All right, Erica, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could follow you on social media?
Well, just like everything else on the Locked On Network, you can find Locked On Kraken on YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to your audio podcasts. And you can find me personally at elindsay08. That's ELINDSAY on social media. And the handle for the show is Locked On Kraken, all one word, on Twitter and Instagram.
Erica, always a pleasure. Good luck in the playoffs and enjoy the ride.
Thanks so much, Gil. Always a pleasure to chat hockey with you.
Today's episode is brought to you by Athletic Greens. The grip of winter is finally being loosened, and you may be trying to get back into a more healthy, active lifestyle. What better to pair with some new exercise habits than a daily dose of nutritional insurance in the form of AG1? With one delicious scoop of AG1 in a glass of water every day, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All these things, and it's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.